Hi, how you doing? I'm Bob Sorensen, Chief Analyst for Quantum Computing here at Hyperion Research. I'm going to give you a quick overview of the results of our fourth annual Global QC Market Study, which we characterize quite simply as robust and on the rise. Uh, just to give you a quick roadmap of what the study entailed, um, we basically ended up talking to about 133 survey respondents representing 108 different companies located around the world. And these were a range of quantum computing suppliers, whether they be hardware suppliers, full stack, software, middleware, all sorts of organizations that are involved in end user facing quantum computing business. And the key here to this was the cooperation from a number of various quantum computing consortia from around the world who really helped us by reaching out to their membership base, encouraging participation, and saying it's important to participate in this study. So we do want to thank them. And you can see here the broad list, the QEDC, the European Quantum Industry Consortium, Quantum Industry Canada, QStar from Japan, Australian Quantum Alliance, UK Quantum and Korea Industry Association. So we thank all of those organizations for helping us, and we invite others to participate in what will be the fifth annual quantum computing survey, which will be starting up in a few weeks soon. Hence. So just to give you some highlights of the study, the global quantum computing market is estimated to be worth about $848 million in 2023. This is the results of asking all of these organizations we spoke to some of their trends and status and prospects for their own revenue base. So it's really a data-driven forecast. And that brings us to an annual projected growth rate of about 22% out to 2026, brings the market to about $1.5 billion. We're pretty confident in this relatively aggressive growth rate simply because we see a number of factors on the supply side that contribute to this. We're seeing continued revenue growth by the traditional quantum computing suppliers, organizations, I say traditional, that have been in business for perhaps more than 2 or 3 years, kind of the perennials in the sector, if you will. But we're also seeing a lot of first revenue appearances by new to market players as more and more organizations, be it in hardware, software, or some part where in the stack, enter into the quantum computing market space. We're seeing an expanding base of domestic suppliers in nascent markets. This is an increasingly global phenomenon, and more countries are playing in the quantum computing game. And we're seeing increasing sophistication and specialization in the QC stack. Organizations that are sell perhaps classical instrumentation to bridge the gap between the quantum computing hardware and the classical integrated environment that I'll be integrated into. We're also seeing demand side interest on the rise. There's widespread interest in accelerating critical compute jobs, many of them being constrained by the increasing cost, complexity, and power consumption of classical HPC. We're seeing end use exploration all over the place in terms of how can quantum help address some of my most vexing computational jobs. And we're seeing sustained government programs, not only for continued funding to support R&D, but also upticks in government procurements, the acquisition of quantum computing hardware in order to make those systems available to leading research facilities, both within the government, commercial, and even within academia as well. So we're seeing lots and lots of demand from both supply and demand side. So this is a quick chart that just shows the combination of the last four estimates that we made. You can see starting in 2019 all the way up to this 2023 estimate that reaches that $1.5 billion in 2026 I talked about earlier. Now, my concern here is always it's dangerous to project out too far. So we do tend to limit the forecast to these kind of short ranges simply because a nascent sector like quantum, which has so much potential, but at the same time has some significant technical hurdles to overcome, means that there can be an inflection point, most likely in the upward direction, if there's a new use case, a new breakthrough in modality or algorithms, any kind of significant driver that brings more and more interest and performance to quantum can significantly change the trajectory here on the upside. Some issues in terms of quantum winter, perhaps some unmet expectations in terms of performance gains or rollouts of equipment could deflect it downward, but we don't think that's nearly as likely. Just to give you a sense of how these vendors that we spoke to looked at algorithms, we see the big three are still the big three: mod sim, optimization, and AI, with some interest in cybersecurity aspects, post quantum encryption kinds of research and such, as well as Monte Carlo processes taking advantage of quantum's ability to generate random number generator. Provable random numbers to support the Monte Carlo processing. Interesting here is that we're seeing a lot more other, and what we think that other category is, that 17%, first time we've seen it, is more about not new algorithms, but perhaps hybrids, mod sim, optimized, or machine learning that feeds into the optimization process. So we think we're seeing more hybrid applications emerging in quantum as people take a look at the algorithms and decide what solves the use case that they have in hand, and what tools are in the toolbox to support that from an algorithm perspective. This is just a quick snapshot of some of the end user sectors when we asked about, and as you can see here, the key takeaways you can pass your eye over this list, but the key takeaway here is the broad applicability across a number of verticals. In fact, someone selected almost every vertical that we offered in terms of, do you think this is something that could be a top potential market for you as a quantum computing supplier? As you can see, broad applicability across all the vectors. Now, here we asked a little bit about end user perceptions. Why? What are we asked quantum computing suppliers what they saw as what are driving end user adoption? And the biggest one is what I alluded to earlier, addressing concerns with future performance capabilities in classical architectures. People are always looking for interesting ways to accelerate the performance of their most complicated or vexing or critical workloads. And quantum offers significant promise to do that, perhaps at a trajectory much more enthusiastic or optimistic than you'd find in the classical world right now. The other thing that scored very high here is develop in-house familiarization with quantum computing skills. Uh, Eventually, quantum computing will be moving into a production level kind of environment, and organizations already want to start to go down the road to say, what do we need to do to integrate that into our existing environment? We need to do that in-house because we know our workloads best. We want to understand the challenges and opportunities of doing that work ourselves. So that's why you see a lot of interest right now in quantum. It's building the in-house database within the classical computing environment that we think is generating a lot of interest in quantum today, as they anticipate moving into a much more formal production level kind of quantum environment going forward. The last thing I wanted to touch on quickly was quantum computing distractions, large language models. We asked a lot of vendors here, are they concerned that large language models, ChatGPT and BERT and such, the issues of generative AI, will that steal a little bit of attention from quantum computing? And the answer came back, about 42% of respondents said, yeah, we think there may be some concern. Large language models do have potential for performance gains. They're much more near term. And as I said earlier, HPC end users and enterprise end users are always looking for the next big computational boost, and large language models offers a short-term solution, perhaps for some of those applications. But the long-term trajectory of quantum and the sense of where it will actually yield significant performance gains, we think that will stand the test of time and continue to go forward as large language model values, return on investment, such sort themselves out in the next few years. Well, that is the end of my talk here. I hope you found some value in it. Here's my email address if you have additional questions. Otherwise, we hope you enjoy the rest of these presentations today. And also, we hope that you enjoy ISC, whether you're attending in person or looking at it from afar. Otherwise, have a good day now. Thank you.